One sentence summary. Some Ronin, 47, avenge their master. Keanu Reeves is also there for some reason. Could you meet the villain? Lord Kira, he seems like a bad dude. He does that classic villain thing where he's training and he beats up some of his own goons. A bit like Putin. But I'm not going to come at this guy and make it a fair fight, because that's just silly. I don't know if he's going to stab me or not, and I can't take that chance. What I would do is get a gun, because we know they exist at this time period, because we see him in the film. And I would shoot him. Maybe you won't die, maybe you'll just be very, very injured. But you are probably going to die, because, you know, olden days technology and medicine were not very good. Anyway, how would you improve this film? Why is Keanu Reeves in this? He's not the main character. That's Oshii. I'm going to pronounce all these names wrong because they're Japanese. Owashi. Let's just say Owashi. That's probably wrong, but yeah, he's the main character, and I don't believe, because this is based on a myth, that Keanu Reeves' character was in the myth that this is based on, which is weird. So you think, oh right, he's there getting the Western audience, but this is from 2013, so this is like after The Matrix by a long way, but before John Wick was cool. So like, why is Keanu Reeves in this? I don't understand. Also, all the characters in the film are like 40 or 50 odd, and it's not like, hey, this is our one last ride after a long time of adventures together. There's a bit where Owashi says to Keanu Reeves, I don't know who or what you are, but I need your help. Bearing in mind, like, he's probably known him about 30 years at this point, because we see them meet when they're teenagers, and then all this time later, they're still hanging out because they still live in the same area. Keanu Reeves is called a half-breed several times in the film, and at first I thought this is because he's supposed to be like touched by a demon or part demon or some nonsense like that. But it turns out he's actually supposed to be half Japanese and half European, which A, Keanu Reeves does not look like that, and B, that's not cool. Like, don't be saying that, honest. At the start of the film, there's a big old monster that's rampaging, and the samurai is supposed to take it down. And there's an archer who's got 2 arrows, one in the quiver, one in the bow. And you got to imagine that guy was super confident he was going to get like one headshot kill. But he wasn't, so, you know, bring more arrows is what I'm saying there. I didn't think this was filmed in Japan, and a lot of it wasn't, so that's quite obvious. And there is questionable CGI in places. The big old monster that archer was going to one-shot kill, that looked pretty good, you know. 2013 film, wasn't that bad. But then there's a CGI fox who's also a witch. The CGI fox looked crap. Keanu Reeves is sitting in a little shack, which looks like it was made by one of the 3 little pigs because it's made out of sticks. And he's sitting there with his shirt off and it's pouring down with rain. He's just going to catch a cold. That's a bad idea. There's a bit where Lord Kira says to Lord Aku, something like that, I can't remember. He's like the main guy, he's the samurai's boss before he dies. Spoiler alert. He's like, I had no idea your concubine was so beautiful. And the guy's like, yeah, she's my daughter. He's like, oh, I had no idea. I think you did. I think you're just being rude, Lord Kira. There's no need for that sort of thing. So there's this friendly contest between the champions of Lord Kira and the other guy, whose name I really should have written down. Anyway, friendly contest, and Lord Kira, the villain's dude, is like 8 foot tall. He looks like Samurai Hulk, but he still goes to, or the witch, Mizuki. I'm not going to pronounce any of this right. Anyway, there's a witch who was the CGI fox as well. She poisons the champion from Akko, the location whose name I have written down here. Why would you need to poison him though? Because it was obvious that Lord Kira's guy was going to win, because he's fucking massive. On the subject of that big dude, he beats up Keanu Reeves when they first meet. He kills one of the Ronin later in the film, and he's building up to be this big old threat. And you think, oh wow, at the end there's going to be a big old battle with this guy, and he might even take on like 40 of the samurai at one time. It's going to be amazing. Nah, he dies in an explosion, and he kind of disintegrates in, you know, a kind of way that makes me think maybe he was a robot or something. It was very strange. And then I saw in some of the behind the scenes stuff, Keanu Reeves is fighting this guy at the end of the film. Why would you cut that out? It looked better than what we actually saw. Anyway, Keanu Reeves sees the champion from Akko, who's having well, it looks like he's having a fit or an epileptic fit or something like that. And he correctly assumes that witchcraft is involved in taking this guy out of the fight. In any other sort of film, this is like a fantasy adventure, Keanu Reeves assuming that this is a witchcraft problem would make him look like a dumbass. But he's correct in this. Anyway, when the two champions step out of the ring, or step into the ring, they've got wooden swords, and then they are given real ones. Why are they not just carrying the swords straight away? When it's discovered that Keanu Reeves is impersonating a samurai, because that guy got poisoned, the Shogun has him beaten up. Two things. Keanu Reeves is cut out of the armour he's wearing. Why would you do that? You've ruined it, now no one can use that armour. Second thing, you've got to make it... I know you can't actually beat Keanu Reeves with sticks, but you've got to make the padding he was wearing less obvious. That's all I'm saying. So, Lord Asano, I did write his name down. He's the old guy, the boss of the samurais. And the witch, who is also a fox sometimes, is in the room with him, and instead decides to like poison him with a magic spider, so he hallucinates and goes crazy a bit. Instead of just like killing him in his sleep, you just put a pillow over his face, he dies, Lord Kira still gets put in charge probably. Doesn't matter, doesn't sense. Anyway, Lord Asano, that magic spider crawls on his face, like... How does he not wake up when that happens? That's gross, like, ugh. There's a surprising lack of blood in this film, which features a number of people on the sharp end of a sword. Lord Asano's daughter, Mikia, something like that, whatever her name is, she is Keanu Reeves' love interest. And when Lord Asano dies, her handmaidens are very, very quick to offer her some poison, you know, to end the pain. And this is before Lord Kira was taken over, by the way. So yeah, I think they just didn't like her, wanted her to die. And it takes the witch, who very clearly doesn't like Mika, takes her like over a year, or about a year, to then say, here's a blade, you can kill yourself. So, in reality, the witch is a better friend than the handmaidens. The Shogun forbids the samurai for getting... Well, they're Ronin now, but you get the point. For seeking revenge for their master's death. There's no evidence that, you know, Lord Kira did anything wrong, because it just looks like Lord Asano went a bit mad and stabbed some people. B, vengeance is one of those things you're gonna do even if you don't have permission, which is proved right by the events of the film. So why did he bother? Do you become a Ronin if your master dies of old age? Because they're like, we, you know, face the ultimate disgrace, our master is dead. He was a pretty old dude. He was older than all the samurai, so like, I feel like he was going to die before you guys anyway. Why did Lord Kira put Oshai, whatever his name is, in the pit for a year to kind of break his spirit? When that is the same amount of time that the Shogun is given before the wedding to Mika. Why would you not just kill the guy? Because you've put him on hold for a year. He's probably going to be quite upset when he gets out. I'm pretty sure the opening narration of the film said that outsiders weren't allowed in olden days Japan. It turns out there's a whole bunch of Europeans, and those are the dudes that have guns. What was with the big CGI monster thing, like a giant, that Keanu Reeves was fighting in that fight club? That's never explained. Why are people like, oh my god, that's a weird monster. I assumed that Keanu Reeves had a stunt double doing a lot of the fight scenes, because it's just, you know, he's got long hair and he's like quick cuts and blah 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 blah. And then watching the special features again, which are very illuminating, I saw Keanu Reeves doing some of those stunts. So why would you edit the shit out of this so you can't see that Keanu Reeves, who's in the film for some reason, is the one doing these stunts? If you're trying to escape from, you know, a bunch of angry Europeans because you've ruined their fight club, why would you get rid of your swords? I feel like keep those. Those are going to be helpful. There's a random shot of the Ronin arriving at a location on their horses and getting off the horses, and then it immediately cuts to someone else somewhere else. Why is that shot in the film? It's a complete waste of time. Keanu Reeves and Oshi, whatever, roll up at a big magic Buddhist temple place where there are some like monster turtle monk things, which are never explained, by the way. And Keanu Reeves says to Oshai, whatever you see, whatever happens, don't draw your sword. I would have just told him to leave his sword outside, then there's no temptation. Nothing's going to go wrong then. Why is Keanu Reeves' character given scars on the back of his head when he's a teenager? And why are those mentioned again when he's an adult? When Keanu Reeves, the actor playing the character, has long hair, which A, covers his face during fight scenes, and B, means you cannot see the scars on his head. So the Ronin, formerly samurai, they think they're going to ambush Lord Kira, but it turns out, and the comic relief guy, who actually wasn't that bad, I didn't mind him, he gets shot a number of times with arrows in the back. And then when he is later dying, you see him bleeding out from his chest. Strange. Maybe I missed him getting shot in the front as well. But, at no point does Oshai give his Ronin a, look, you guys can walk away now, and I won't think any less of you, because we are making it back from this kind of speech. So he bullies these people who've probably, moved on with their lives in a year into, death, which is sad. The Ronin sneak into Lord Kira's castle disguised as some musicians, and they're also wearing some wigs that make them look a bit like Andy Warhol, but that's besides the point. I don't know why they bothered sneaking in though, because some of the Ronin climb up the back wall and sneak in that way. Why doesn't everyone just climb up the back wall? Mika, she's only called a princess once in this film. Is she a princess? Because I don't think she is. And Keanu Reeves says to the princess, or not princess, nothing will ever keep me from you. Well, apart from that year you spent in a fight club. Seemed to be keeping you apart there. Anyway, speaking of Keanu Reeves, he says a lot of generic action movie stuff in this film, like, we need to end this now, and come on. Doesn't quite say it like that though. And it really does feel like those are things that were kind of added in later just to give Keanu Reeves more time on screen, even though he doesn't really need to be in the story. At some point, one of the characters says, make Akko great again. And I was like, huh, that's quite funny, because this was pre-Trump, so, the character saying it didn't have to be evil. Keanu Reeves says to Mika, I will search for you in 1,000 worlds and 10,000 lifetimes. And she replies, and I will wait for you in all of them. You lazy cow. Just go and search for him in all the different worlds and lifetimes. Maybe you'll find each other quicker. How about that? Rating out of 5 beers, I would give this 4 beers out of 5. Apparently they are making a sequel to this right now, and I don't know why, because this one, not very good.